Hello everyone! Totally kidding. Simply Nailogical would never be caught dead with nails that looked like these two, but she is the reason that I am talking about the nail kit that I am today. It is the Nails 21 Holo Powder Gel Nail Set. I watched her video on this, fell down the Holo rabbit hole, and after watching it at least like 25 more times, finally committed to buying the kit, but it took some getting used to. So at first this was going to be a review, kind of like a beginner's guide to using this because I am not a pro like her, but after encountering multiple issues, like just ran into every stinking issue you could think of. This is going to be more about like what you get in the kit, what my thoughts on it are, as well as some tips as to how you can avoid all of this your first go around. So your first time trying this set, if you do decide you want to give it a go, it's not a complete disaster like the first 5, 6 to 10 times mine were. So let's go ahead and get started. So for starters, what comes inside the kit? I ended up deciding to buy the kit because I looked around on the website, which is in Portuguese, by the way, so it's kind of hard to navigate if, like me, English is your primary and pretty much your only language. It's a little bit trickier to navigate, but ultimately I landed on buying the whole set as opposed to each of the individual pieces just because I really wanted to ensure success. In that set, you get the base coat. It's basically a black base coat, gel base coat. Then you get a gel platinum top coat, as well as the Holo powder itself and a dual-ended, basically the little scrubby tool that you need to apply the powder to the nails. On one end you have kind of like the shape of an orange stick, but huge and made of silicone or something very flexible. And on the other end you have this really precise kind of pencil tip or like paintbrush tip. It's not brush-like, it's one continuous piece of silicone or whatever. But this is great for getting around your, like the sides of your nails and cuticles and stuff. But all that comes in one kit. And then I also bought the, this is a single, it says it's a single finger LED cure light. At first I wasn't going to, but I was watching another video of hers where she did the duochrome from the same brand, Nails 21, and she couldn't get the gel to cure under the other light that she was using, so I'm not sure if it's a frequency thing or why they're incompatible, but I decided once again to err on the side of caution and just go with the recommended LED light thing, because I do have one from Red Carpet Manicure, but like I said, after seeing her have issues, just went ahead and got this as well. They do have a full or whole hand light thing that you can use, but I believe that's €50, and this was only like 15 or 25, something along those lines. So went ahead along with this. It says it's one finger, but I can fit up to 3 in there, and they all get cured just the same, so just FYI. And the other thing you will need if, like me, you are in the US is an adapter, because this guy will not fit in any US sockets. So I happen to have one of these lying around from when I had traveled internationally before. You might not though, so something you should anticipate you'll need to buy as well if your sockets are not compatible with this plug. So as I sat down to do this the first time, I had the Nails 21 video up in front of me going step by step. It's actually the first thing that pops up in search when you just look for holographic nail powder or something like that. Theirs is the first video to come up, and it is literally showing you step by step how to use this kit to get the desired effect. However, after watching it all the way through, I realized that I was missing 2 items before I got started. One of which was a buffing item. They buff some of the layers in between applying the next coat, and the other was a cleaning fluid. I forget what they call it, but it's also in Portuguese, so it's probably not the word we use anyway, but it's some sort of fluid that you're supposed to put on in between coats. So I didn't have either of those, but I thought I'll use like a buffing, something like this. I'll just use the file edge to give it a little bit of light texture. So the first thing you're supposed to do is lay down a layer of black, nope, that's the top coat, taco. Lay down a layer of black polish and then cure it under the light. I did not apply any sort of base coat, no peel porn in this video, guys, unfortunately, but like I said, her channel has all the good stuff. Go check that out. But I apply a layer of the black polish, let it cure. I believe the light's on a cycle of a minute, something to that effect. Let it cure, and then you are supposed to go in and buff it. So I did that, and it turns out I buffed it a little too much. It left exposed nail, so I ended up having to then go and remove that layer and start the whole thing again. So went in, applied the black, cured it, went to go buff it, got it so it looked just right. I thought, great, we're good to go. The next step is to apply a top coat layer, so I did that, cured it once again, and then the next step is to apply your Holo powder. This is where the magic happens. So I'm applying, it's very easy to apply. I didn't find I had to press all that hard to get it to distribute evenly. It goes on really smoothly and nicely. Don't worry about needing to clean up around your cuticles. Like, obviously I'm not using any liquid latex here to peel off. The powder is removed really easily just by water. Like, just so you know, before you put the next layer of top coat over the powder, that's the next step in this process. Before you do that, the powder is totally removable if you just take a damp cotton pad, no special solution needed, just water, damp cotton pad, wipe it off. So pretty hard to screw that part of things up. I was running into some uneven texture. You'll definitely see that there, which is always amplified, emphasized by a metallic kind of finish. That was no different here, but the one thing that I was noticing is that it was the Holo, like the effect that I was seeing wasn't nearly as intense as I saw in both the Nails 21 video and Simply Nailogical's video, and I just could not figure out why. So I tried to change this process up multiple different times. I finally decided to stop buffing. I didn't think that was helping anything, but I think we got back on the road to success when I started wiping my nails away with a damp cotton pad after I had applied the first clear top coat that is supposed to go under the Holo powder. I just noticed that after curing, there would just be this really fine layer, kind of sticky, kind of just like greasy on top of my nail. Like, I think it was fully cured, because that was one thought I had, is maybe it's not cured, so I started doing like 1.5 minutes, you know, kind of a little half session, even after the first session was done. Still had that kind of residue on it, and I thought, maybe that's it. And something that she said, she experienced the same kind of cloudiness with her Holo, and she attributed it to liquid latex, but I'm not using that, so I just thought, maybe it's just something to do with the gel, and that's why they have that cleansing layer, so I'm just going to use water. That definitely helped, but it wasn't until I found my rubbing alcohol that the magic really started happening. I think you could also use nail polish remover as long as it's not acetone based, because this stuff definitely comes off with acetone, or acetone based nail polish remover. So once the powder is on the way you like it, you put another clear gel taco on it, you cure it, and in theory, you are done. I will say though, I was a little unimpressed with how long the really hollowy effect of my nails lasted. I found that a lot of things clouded them up, like the gel top coat just didn't stay super shiny and glossy for all that long. So what I found helps is applying cuticle oil. I don't have cuticle oil, so I actually just use one of my Cover FX. I use these things for everything now. Any kind of beauty oil or something that can just give it that extra shine, I apply it, and it helps my cuticles too. Let's get real. They're in rough shape, so they need it. I just apply a little bit of that to each cuticle, and that kind of reinvigorates the shine there. But I'm not sure if they offer a different top coat that I could use to kind of extend that glossiness, but that was one thing I was unimpressed with. But all in all, after I don't even know how many applications and re-applications of this stuff I did, I'm pretty pleased with the results, but now it is time for the tips. Tip number 1 is that if you are not in it to win it, if like you are not truly Holo committed, you might just consider going to get this done at a salon, finding a nail salon around you that does this, rather than buying this whole kit, because my logic was, I get this and then I can redo it whenever I want. I'm the worst at making appointments. I don't care what kind of appointment it is. And so if it's one less thing I have to do, I can just do it in my free time at home. It's worth it to me to have the kit. In hindsight though, it is a little bit more time consuming than a normal manicure, certainly more time consuming than a press-on manicure. So for this kind of effect, and given that it's not as intense of effect as I had anticipated, I would go to a salon first, then decide whether I wanted the full-blown kit. Tip number 2, don't buff your nails out like they did in the video. I'm sure they did it because it would help the top coat adhere, give it more surface area to kind of adhere and cling onto once cured, but personally it was more of a hassle to ensure I didn't buff too far into the nail, and maybe it would have helped if I had their buffing tool, but it just was not worth it to me, and I experienced success without it. So don't worry about buffing it if you don't have the tool, time, whatever. Tip number 3, you might not have that cleansing solution that they use in that video as well, but you absolutely must cleanse your nails with something, whether it's water, a little bit less effective, or if it's rubbing alcohol, what I experienced most success with, definitely do that, or a non-acetone based nail polish remover would probably do the trick as well. But you gotta have it, or you're gonna get some cloudy Holo / no Holo, which is not good. Tip number 4 is to keep that cuticle oil on hand. It's going to keep your cuticles healthy, but it's also going to maintain that glossy, hollow goodness, more so than the top coat I found could. Tip number 5, make sure the ends of your nails are smooth. I have very brittle, jagged nails, so even when I file them down, they would just be a little uneven. You can totally see it up close. I'm well aware of that, but you want to get them as smooth as possible, because something I found during curing is that sometimes that gel will pull back just a little bit to reveal those jagged edges. So on almost all my nails, I found I had to go back and reapply a little bit of black or reapply a little bit of holo. Like, I had to give it a couple coats of holo especially to the tips of my nails, just to make sure I didn't have any black peeking out of the sides. It was kind of trickier to cover all of that up, especially around the edges. Tip number 6, this can work with a non-gel base coat. I have not personally done it, but she does, Simply Nailogical does in her video, so once again, definitely go check that out, because if you're not wanting to buy this full-blown kit, you just want to buy like a little rubbery thing and maybe the nail, whatever you want to do, she shows you how to do it with a regular black nail polish that's non-gel. Tip number 7, rely on some supplementary light action to really get the hollow effect glowing in your nails. I realized this after watching, I think it was her oil slick lip video, and she pulled out her iPhone flashlight to really show how having a ring light plus an additional light kind of brought out the multiple facets of that lip product, and I thought, that must be how you get some super crazy, insane, like all that crazy reflect on your nails. And sure enough, I'll show you a comparison here of nails with just the ring light versus nails with the flash from my camera phone, and I've also shared on Instagram a couple of like boomerangs or little short videos where I'm using a flash there as well, and it just really makes the holo pop, which is why we're all here. And the last tip is, if you get this kit, or frankly, if you just get this little rubbery doodad guy and you have a gel kit or something similar, give it a try with different kinds of powder. I currently have ordered some mirror powder and some duochrome powder, not from this brand because they are kind of pricey from this brand, and I found buckets, or not buckets, little jars on eBay for literally $2 a thing. So let me know in the comments below if you want to see an updated video on how those go. But in the meantime, I figured, why not experiment with pigments and glitters that I have lying around? I have a ton of them, might as well put them to good use, right? So you might have noticed, hopefully maybe not, I have two kind of rogue thumbs here. On one, I tried Makeup Geek's Gold, I think it's Gold Digger pigment, and I would not recommend using an eyeshadow pigment. It gets a little cloudy, especially with something like this where you have like kind of dark, almost black, kind of that antique gold versus the bright gold. You get a little bit of unevenness there, and it just overall didn't turn out very well. However, I also tried just a pure glitter, and that gives a really nice mirror shine. I mean, you can definitely see the individual glitter fragments there, and it was kind of harder to get the glitter all the way around the outside of my nail, but from afar, that's like borderline totally mirror nail. So maybe one thing I'll have to do is compare how a pure glitter looks versus the mirror powder. But just a little something else you can do in the event you have something like this or a different but similar kit and this tool. Experiment with different powders and really get your money's worth and mileage out of this kit. So that's it from me, guys. That's my experience with this nail kit and my little tips for making the first time, or whatever time you're on, using it a little bit easier, a little bit more foolproof. Hope this was useful, and I apologize yet again for the state of my nails. That's just the way it is, but I'm pretty happy with the way the holo came out, and that's really what this mission was all about. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, guys.